Hey everyone, Poohead189 here, and today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Now, I've been gone a while, and I've been mostly focusing on my writing career, but I have 4 videos for the next month or two, including this one, on the pipeline, so I do have some new content coming. Now, I know this channel is mostly for fantasy and science fiction. Warhammer, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Today I'm talking about something dear to my heart, more than any other series really. I first saw Dragon Ball Z in 1996 when I was 5 years old, and I've been its biggest fan ever since. Every Dragon Ball movie that has released in theaters that I could see, that I was old enough to go to, I've gone to see. I saw Superhero on opening day, and I had to leap back into YouTube just to review it. As the title says, this review is spoiler-free. I will mention one scene in particular, but I will only speak of it since it has no real relevance to the plot. So just know if I start talking about a scene, that's because it doesn't matter for the plot of the movie at all. Dragon Ball Super Superhero is awesome. Directed by Tetsuro Kodama with the screenplay and character design by Akira Toriyama himself, and Toyotaro obviously has a lot of work to do in the movie. The film was largely made with CGI, which granted I wasn't too keen on initially, and in the movie it can sometimes break immersion. However, when it's good, it's really good. During the action, during transformations, the explosions and the beams, it's a spectacle to behold. But when it's in the downtime in this movie has far more downtime than most Dragon Ball movies. It kind of feels like a cutscene from Burst Limit or Xenoverse. Like not really, like sometimes it's good even without the action, but like, and not to diss on Burst Limit or Xenoverse. I love those games. But sometimes it's a little strange to see on screen, and the lip flaps are done a little strangely, and I think it's even true in the sub in that category. As you may well know, the movie focuses on Piccolo and Gohan rather than Goku and Vegeta, which is a complete breath of fresh air. Sadly, you don't see Tien or Yamcha, and you barely see Krillin, which is definitely a missed opportunity. Like, if you're gonna have Goku and Vegeta gone, add the Earthlings. However, it was awesome to see Piccolo taking the reins like he did in the Android Saga when the Saiyans were either ill, hurt, or in the time chamber. When he took the reins in, that was really awesome. In fact, this movie is about 70% Piccolo. Gohan shows up for real around the midpoint of the film, and Piccolo does most of the fluff, which I'm happy with. Speaking of fluff, the movie does a deep dive, at least as deep as Dragon Ball can go, on background and world building. Though I use the terms loosely, they get some things... there's plenty of inconsistencies, but like they still want to tie in some stuff together. Now let's talk about my gripes. Firstly, there are a few real ass pulls in this movie. In fact, some characters even lampshade it or mention it in the dialogue. Not that I'm on a high horse, but I feel like they could have easily did what they did in the movie with like kind of better logic sometimes. As previously stated, the CGI could be great, but sometimes it was a little jarring. And, of course, the power scaling is absolutely abysmal, which is just Dragon Ball Super in general. You get no real feel about how strong a character is compared to another, and I mean from another in the movie, much less in the series as a whole. How strong is Piccolo in this movie or any of the other antagonists, like comparison to Cell in the series, or Boo in the series, or anything like you don't know where their powers are. It's just completely centered around the movie scaling, and even that is inconsistent. And the inconsistencies of the fights are easily seen because they happen within like 10 minutes of each other. Like, here's an example. Let's say there's 3 characters. Characters A, B, and C. Let's say character A punches character B and doesn't hurt him in the slightest. Like, character B tanks character A's punch. Now, character C, so character C is actively more powerful than character B. But when character A, who hit character B earlier to no effect, when character A hits character C, somehow it hurts them. It just doesn't make any real sense. Now, on to the biggest problem. And here's where I don't consider this a spoiler because it doesn't really have anything to do with the movie. Goku and Vegeta. During the movie, Goku and Vegeta are training on Beerus's planet, and they don't receive any of the calls for help from Earth. During the scenes of Goku and Vegeta, Goku thinks training is pure muscle, no meditation or training of any kind save push-ups and punching is worth his time. He's hot-headed, impatient, and quick to complain. Meanwhile, Vegeta is trying to find his inner self, training smarter, not harder, refrains from name-calling and keeps a cool head. Okay, now I want to rewind what I just fucking said and realize who I was speaking about. Goku, the person who was trained by Kami that movement is waste, and who was trained by Kami and Roshi that patience and using your head matters, who learned combat techniques quickly, and who discovered in the Cell Saga to train smarter and not harder with his Super Saiyan transformations, which is what led him to go Mastered Super Saiyan, and Vegeta went, Ascended Super Saiyan, which was sort of like pushing your body. Like, he lectured Vegeta on pushing his body too hard in the time chamber. And now Goku is the airhead who has thrown all of that shit away and is acting worse than the child he was when he first came to see Takame House looking for a master. Meanwhile, hot-headed, arrogant Vegeta, who insults and rages at Goku, is the one that is completely relaxed and introspective. The movie literally switched their character temperaments and outlooks on life. In fact, it's so egregious, whoever thought to write it that way should be fired. I don't even give a fuck if it's Toriyama himself. He literally did the equivalent of taking Iron Man and making him Team Cap, and Captain America and making him Team Iron Man. It was really jarring. And if you want to be kind, you can maybe, say it's character growth for Vegeta. You could say that potentially. But, God knows he's regressed every other time he's had growth. He's always gone like, okay, Goku, you're stronger than me, you're the best ever, and then after that he forgets that, and then he tries to outpace Goku, and then, he's just like, maybe love really is what I need to focus on, and then, after that he's like, foolish woman to Bulma, so it's just like, he learns his lessons and he goes back, so, if he's learning it here, okay, great, but that's strange, and Goku in Super in general makes no sense, and this is probably the worst defense of that to date, really. That being said, the rest of the movie, even with the inconsistencies, was badass as fuck. A few parts were a little boring because they wanted to build up to the climax, but the fights were great, and honestly, even during the parts that you could label as boring, I love seeing the characters do stuff. I love these characters. And Piccolo and Gohan's new forms, and I'm not spoiling that because that's in all the promo art, were spectacular on screen. The promo art doesn't do them justice, really. People made fun of them in the promo art, but when you see it on screen, when you see in the promo art, it kind of looks like Neanderthal Piccolo and Gohan Blanco. But on screen, Piccolo has this strength and Gohan has this ferocity to him that you just can't help but like. Even though there is an inconsistency with Gohan's transformations in general, because Elder Kai gave Gohan mystic form, so he didn't have to transform ever again to a higher state. But that's Super for you. But all in all, I'd say this movie was only slightly worse than Broly, which is a high bar, so it's still an exceptional movie. As far as new movies go, it's probably right behind Broly for me, Broly likely being the best, to me. I recommend getting a ticket so they can keep cranking out good Dragon Ball content. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks.